The reason Alexa is shooting this video, your beautiful daughter, the oldest, is because she's young enough and she doesn't really mind standing, even though she's expecting her blessed event, her and her wonderful husband. So congratulations to them coming up in December, granddad. But there was none better than your dad, granddad, to all these great grandchildren. And we are here. Dave Gabauer, who's a lifelong friend of yours truly, who's the Beaver County coroner. I grew up with him in Branson Heights. The Lutton Gabauer Funeral Home in Chippewa, spacious, and thank goodness. And I guess Sam told me, that wonderful minister at the New Brighton Christian Assembly Church, you wanted to kind of split it up, 2 to 4, 7 to 9. Dave Gabauer, being very smart, said that's not going to work. I haven't stood in line this long since I was trying to probably get tickets to some great show back in the 70s, and I was young enough that I could stand that long. What an outpouring of love, and as your wife said, simply, his legacy was evident here today.
My dad just touched so many different lives in so many different ways. I mean, in church, in the community, with his high school friends, through music because he was a musician.
Which I didn't know until today.
Yeah, and he was, he had a band. And
the Cliftones.
The Cliftones, yeah. And he's an amazing musician. I got none of that.
Well, he also, yes, you're just walking to the beat of your own drum.
No, yeah.
But listen, I love doing things like this because when someone has lived such a long life and has such a rich body of work, you have to take time to remember them. And as I told your wonderful children on the way out, I felt like I was running for office. I shook so many hands. I said, look, don't forget this man because they truly did break the mold. He also worked at B&W for a while, but how long has he been a minister? Your wife said since the 70s?
Since 1973, yeah. He part-time as a minister. Interesting story. In about 1968, he got into be the song leader of our church, and at that time, Pastor Francona was the pastor. Well, my dad was still playing with the band, and there was a front page picture of him singing with his band that appeared in the News Tribune, and Pastor Francona caught wind of it and just said, hey, you're either going to lead songs in the church or you're going to go play with your band. And thank God that Terry's grandfather did that because it really started my dad's passion in ministry.
I want to thank Lisa Mendocino, who stood with me for the 2 hours. That's why I had somebody to talk to. She's definitely a dear friend. But more importantly, even Frank Papa, I was wondering if he could go pick me up a couple of chili dogs across the street. I'm starving. But this is how God works in very small ways. The movie Michael, starring John Travolta, he portrayed an angel. Aretha Franklin's Chain of Fools was a big song from that movie. Fan of that movie, obviously, because of the whole angelical aspect of it. As I'm pulling into the parking lot today, just about ready to shut the radio off.
You heard that song?
Chain of Fools, great song, Chain Chain. And I just thought, you know what? If there was anybody who ever truly earned his wings, Reverend Demarco.
Well, he's happy and smiling and laughing today because he's with Jesus.
How about what I said to you? Because our dads cut from the same cloth. You look at him as this angelic individual, helping people.
Yeah.
And knowing, as I said to Sam, all of these funeral directors, because he had been to many of them, helping people look back at the legacy of loved ones. But you said, like my dad, when he had to give you the wrath of God, he let you know who was in charge.
Oh, there's no question. I'm telling you that.
Love to hear.
He. There was a side that, let's just say, he had a short fuse, but he loved people. He really did.
Kind of like you when you're down by a field goal with like a minute left in the game, and you're trying to get it in the red zone.
And we missed that field goal. Well, hopefully this year. My dad told me
he
loved to have a good year. Yeah, and I told him last week. I said, when you see Jesus, please put a good word in for me. We'd like to win a few football games.
Listen, it's been overstated, I'm sure, but I'll end on this note. Thank you, Mr. Demarco. I will never forget you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the coach, Rob Pratte, and to everyone, God bless the man who truly rewrote history in New Brighton and this region when it came to people finding their way to their faith. Good night.